The phone rang just as I was finishing up dinner dishes. I wiped my hands on the towel, glanced at the caller ID, and smiled. It was my youngest daughter, Jasmine. "Hey baby," I answered, pressing the phone to my ear. Jasmine never called at this hour unless something was urgent. But her voice wasn't cheerful like usual. It was low, almost whispering. "Mom, is my sister-in-law at home?" I frowned, confused. "Marsha?" "Yes, baby. She just walked in from the store not long ago." "Why?" There was a long silence on the other end. Too long. I thought the call had dropped. But then Jasmine whispered, sharp and shaky. "That's impossible, Mama. She just boarded my flight. I checked the manifest myself. I saw her ID. She's sitting in seat 14C right now. On my plane. Headed to Houston." The room suddenly felt colder. I gripped the counter with one hand, the phone with the other. "What?" "I swear, Mama. It's her. Same face. Same name. Same everything. She's right here on this plane. I'm staring at her with my own two eyes." My heart skipped a beat. The words sank in heavy, like stones dropping into water. My gaze drifted to the living room. Marsha, my son-in-law's wife, was right there, folding the baby's clothes on the couch. Two places. Same time. I almost dropped the phone, but Jasmine hissed quickly. "Don't say anything yet. Don't let her know. Just watch her. I'll call you as soon as we land." Before I could answer, the line went dead. I stood frozen in the kitchen, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound. Then came the creak. Slow, steady footsteps from the hallway. I turned, and my blood ran cold. There she was, Marsha, standing in the doorway with a grocery bag dangling from her hand, like nothing was wrong. "You okay, Mama D?" she asked me sweetly, using the name she always did. "You look pale." I couldn't even form words. My throat felt locked. And then, upstairs, my son-in-law's deep voice boomed. "Baby, who's at the door?" The footsteps grew louder. Marsha moved closer, tilting her head at me, waiting for my answer. My grip on the phone tightened. The air between us thickened with something I couldn't name. Fear, confusion, betrayal, all mixed together. How could she be here? And on Jasmine's plane at the same time. My mind spun with possibilities. Was Jasmine mistaken? A look-alike? No, she wouldn't risk calling me mid-flight for nothing. My daughter was disciplined, sharp, a professional airline pilot trusted with hundreds of lives. If she said Marsha was on that flight, then she was. Which meant the woman in front of me. Who was she really? I forced a weak smile. Just a headache, Marsha. Nothing to worry about. She gave me a sympathetic nod, set the grocery bag down, and walked past me into the kitchen. The smell of oranges and fresh bread filled the air as she began unpacking items like it was the most ordinary evening. But nothing about this night was ordinary. My hands trembled as I picked up a dish towel, pretending to dry the counter. My ears strained for every sound, her movements, her breaths, even the rustle of the plastic bags. And then, she hummed. That soft gospel tune she always sang while cooking. A tune I had heard her hum 100 times in this very kitchen. Meanwhile, Jasmine was thousands of feet in the sky, staring at the same face, the same voice, the same woman, or her twin, on an airplane to Houston. I swallowed hard. Upstairs, Devon's footsteps echoed. He was coming down. My chest tightened. If Jasmine was right, my son-in-law was hiding something bigger than just infidelity. This wasn't just cheating. This was a secret that could rip our family apart in ways I wasn't ready to imagine. The wooden stairs creaked. Devon's tall frame appeared at the top, his voice casual, calm. "Baby, did you get everything from the store?" "Yes," Marsha replied smoothly, holding up the bread. "I even got your favorite wheat." I forced myself not to flinch. He smiled, completely unaware of the storm brewing in my chest. I kept silent, pressing the towel harder into the counter, praying neither of them could hear the pounding of my heart. But then, something caught my eye. A slip of paper, peeking out from Marsha's grocery bag. Not a receipt. A ticket stub. I leaned closer, just enough to read it. My pulse roared in my ears. Delta Airlines. Flight 247. Detroit to Houston. ***. The very same flight Jasmine was piloting. My breath caught in my throat. Before I could snatch it, Marcia tucked the slip deeper into the bag, humming louder now, almost like she knew I'd seen it. And just as Devon reached the bottom of the stairs, she turned to me with a smile too sharp, too perfect. "Mama D," she said sweetly, locking eyes with me. "You look like you've just seen a ghost." The phone buzzed in my palm. A text from Jasmine flashed across the screen. "Mom, she's staring right at me on this plane. Smiling. Like she knows something." ***. I nearly dropped the phone again. The room tilted. Two Marcius. One here. One there. Both moving in sync, both acting like they owned the moment. My stomach churned with dread. This wasn't a coincidence. This was deliberate. A game being played in my house, in my daughter's life, and we were all the pawns. Devon kissed Marcia on the cheek, picked up the baby, and looked at me. "Everything okay, Mama?" I forced a smile that felt like glass cracking. "Yes, everything's fine." But inside my mind screamed, **no. Nothing is fine. Nothing will ever be fine again." I didn't sleep that night. Not a wink. I lay in my bed staring at the ceiling, listening to every creak of the house. Devon's footsteps moving down the hall. Marcia's soft laughter drifting up from the living room. The baby's cries in the night. But all I could hear over and over was Jasmine's whisper. "That's impossible, Mama. She's sitting in 14C on my plane." How could the same woman be in two places at once? By morning, I was exhausted, but my mind was sharper than ever. Something wasn't right. Something was being hidden, and I was going to dig it out no matter how ugly it turned. I waited until Devon left for work and Marcia went upstairs to shower. My hands shook as I dialed Jasmine's number. She answered on the first ring, her voice tired from flying all night. "Mom, I'm telling you it was her. I even said her name when I saw her." She looked straight at me, smiled, and turned away like she didn't know me. "But baby," I whispered, glancing toward the stairs, "she's here." She was in my kitchen, unpacking groceries. She never left this house. Silence stretched between us. Then Jasmine said slowly, "Mama, are you sure it's not?" She stopped herself, like the thought was too crazy to finish. "Not what?" I pushed. "Not a twin." The word hung in the air like smoke. A twin. I froze, trying to process it. Could that be it? Was Marcia hiding a twin sister all this time? Why wouldn't she tell anyone? And why was that twin boarding Jasmine's plane under the same name? Jasmine's voice hardened. If it's a twin, then Devon knows. He's covering it up. He's lying to us both. Mama, you need to watch them. Please. Don't trust anything they say. Her words left me with a knot in my stomach. I promised I would. Then we hung up. All morning, I studied Marcia. The way she moved around the house. The way she hummed gospel songs. The way she kissed Devon goodbye when he left for work. Nothing seemed off, except the ticket stub I saw last night. I knew I hadn't imagined it. Flight 247. Detroit to Houston. When Marcia went to take a nap, I tiptoed into the kitchen and dug through the trash. Empty bottles, plastic bags, a crumpled receipt, but no ticket stub. She had thrown it away carefully. I felt my heart racing as I stood there with the trash bag in my hands. If there really were two of them, if Marcia had a twin, why were they pretending to be one person? Why deceive us? And most importantly, what role did Devon play in all this? That evening, Devon came home whistling like nothing was wrong. He set down his briefcase, kissed Marcia, and picked up the baby. "How was your day, Mama D?" he asked me, his smile too easy. I forced a smile back. "Fine." But my chest was burning. I needed answers. So I made a decision. I followed him. The next night, after dinner, Devon said he was heading out to meet a client. He kissed Marcia goodbye, grabbed his keys, and left. A few minutes later, I slipped on my coat, grabbed my car keys, and trailed him down the dark Detroit streets. He drove 20 minutes across town, straight to a hotel. He parked, got out, and went inside. I parked 2 rows over, heart thundering in my chest. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped my phone. 10 minutes later, I saw him again. And my world tilted. He wasn't alone. He was walking out of the hotel with her. Marcia. Or at least, someone who looked exactly like her. Same long braids. Same sharp cheekbones. Same laugh. He leaned down, kissed her like she was his wife, and helped her into the passenger seat. My breath caught in my throat. Because I knew where his real wife was. At home. With their baby. I followed them as they drove across town, holding my breath the whole way. They stopped at a small diner. I parked across the street, watching through the glass as they sat close together in a booth, his arm draped around her shoulders like they were lovers. They laughed, whispered, kissed. And all I could think was, how long has this been going on? My eyes stung with tears. I wanted to storm inside, drag her out, and scream the truth to everyone in that diner. But I forced myself to stay still. Instead, I snapped a photo with my phone. The flash nearly gave me away, but they didn't notice. My hands trembled as I looked at the picture. Devon and Marcia. No, Devon and her twin, caught together in plain sight. By the time I drove home, my heart was pounding with a mix of anger and fear. I walked into the living room and froze. There she was. Marcia. Sitting on the couch, rocking the baby gently, humming that same soft tune. The same woman I had just seen in Devon's car, kissing him. I nearly dropped my purse. My mouth went dry. 2 of them. There had to be 2 of them. But this one looked up at me with calm eyes, smiling like she had been there all along. "How was your evening, Mama D?" she asked sweetly. I forced myself to nod. Fine. But inside, I was screaming. Later that night, as I lay awake in bed, I replayed it all. Devon with one Marcia at the hotel. The other Marcia at home with the baby. 2 sisters. 2 identical faces. Both tied to my son-in-law. The betrayal was no longer a suspicion. It was a fact. Devon was cheating on my daughter with her own sister. And worse, he was bold enough to think none of us would ever find out. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was Jasmine, texting me after her layover. "Mama, any news? Did you figure it out?" Asterisk asterisk. I typed back with shaking fingers. Yes. There are 2 of them. Twins. And Devon has both. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break through my chest. For a moment, silence. Then Jasmine's reply flashed across the screen. "We're going to burn him down." I sat up in bed, clutching the phone, my body trembling. The betrayal was too deep to ignore now. And the fire in Jasmine's words told me this wasn't going to end quietly. This was war. Sunday dinners had always been a family tradition in my house. Chicken baking in the oven, cornbread rising golden, collard greens simmering slow. Usually, it was a time for laughter, prayers, and peace. But this Sunday, peace was the last thing on my mind. I had made my decision. If Devon thought he could play my daughter for a fool, if he thought he could juggle 2 sisters and hide it from me, he was about to learn that Mama D didn't raise no weak women. So, I invited them all. Jasmine, Devon, Marcia, the wife, and the other one, the twin I had spotted with Devon at that hotel. I tracked her down earlier that morning, waiting outside the diner where she worked part-time. When she stepped out in her uniform, her face froze at the sight of me. "Come to dinner," I told her firmly, blocking her path. She shook her head. "I don't think that's a good idea." "You don't get a choice, baby girl," I cut in, my eyes hard. "If you're bold enough to lay up with your sister's husband, you're bold enough to sit across the table from her." She hesitated, biting her lip, then finally nodded. By 6 o'clock, the table was set. Jasmine helped me lay out the food, but her eyes kept darting toward the door. She knew. I'd told her everything, and she was ready for war. Devon walked in first, carrying the baby in his arms, Marcia close behind. He smiled like the good husband he pretended to be. "Smells good, Mama D," he said, kissing my cheek. I forced a tight smile. Sit down. He settled in, bouncing the baby gently, Marcia sliding into the chair beside him. They looked so comfortable, so normal. It made my stomach turn. And then, the front door opened again. The second Marcia stepped inside. Same face. Same braids. Same confident stride. But the moment she saw her twin sitting at the table, her smirk faltered. The room froze. Jasmine's fork clattered against her plate. She stared wide-eyed, from one woman to the other. Mama, what the hell is this? Devon's face drained of color. He stuttered, I can explain. But I slammed my hand on the table. No. You will explain. Right here, right now. In front of all of us. The two sisters locked eyes. Their resemblance was so perfect, it was like looking at a mirror. For a long, tense moment, no one spoke. Finally, Jasmine's voice cut through the silence like a knife. So this whole time, while I'm up in the sky flying planes, trusting my husband, raising our child, you're in my bed? My own sister-in-law. Marcia, the wife, snapped back, don't you put this on me. I didn't know. Her twin laughed bitterly. Didn't know? Please. You knew he came to me when he wanted real love. You knew he wasn't satisfied with you. Jasmine shot up from her chair, so fast it screeched against the floor. Real love? You mean stealing my husband and breaking up my home? That's what you call love? The baby started crying, wailing from the tension. Devon tried to shush him, but his voice shook. Everybody calm down. Shut up. I snapped, pointing at him. Don't you dare tell us to calm down. You sat here for years, lying to my daughter, lying to me, bringing another woman, her own sister, into this mess. Devon slammed his hand on the table. I'm the man of this family. I'll decide how this goes. The words cut through the room like glass. Jasmine's hands balled into fists. Her voice broke, but her rage burned hot. The man of this family? You don't even know the meaning of the word. You betrayed your wife. You destroyed our trust. You turned my sister against me. You don't deserve the title of man. The two sisters stood now, yelling across the table. He chose me first. The twin screamed. But he married me. The wife shouted back. And he still comes to me when he wants what you can't give. The words hit like a bullet. Jasmine staggered back, tears welling in her eyes. Devon's face twisted. He grabbed the baby tighter, his voice booming. Enough. You're all acting crazy. You think you can gang up on me? You think you can tear my family apart? I leaned forward, my voice low and steady. You already did that yourself. For a moment, silence fell. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then the twin turned to Devon, her voice sharp. Tell them, Devon. Tell them you promised me more than just secrets. Tell them you said you'd leave her for me. Gasps filled the room. Marcia, the wife, covered her mouth, shaking her head violently. You promised her that? Jasmine's eyes blazed with fury. You disgusting coward. You've been playing both sides, lying to everyone. Devon's face contorted with panic. I didn't mean. But before he could finish, Jasmine hurled her glass of water across the table. It shattered against the wall, water dripping down like tears. I want you out of my house, she spat. Out of my life. Out of my son's life. Do you hear me, Devon? You're done. The baby wailed louder. Marcia sobbed. Her twin folded her arms, defiant. And Devon? He sat there, jaw clenched, eyes dark, like a man cornered but not broken. He leaned back slowly, his voice low, dangerous. You think you can throw me out? You think you can take my son from me? You've got another thing coming. The threat hung in the air, chilling every one of us. I stood, my chair scraping across the floor. My voice shook, but I didn't back down. Get out of my house, Devon, before I call the police. For a long moment, he stared at me. Then he stood, slammed his chair back, and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls rattled. The silence he left behind was deafening. Jasmine collapsed into her seat, tears streaming down her face. "Mama, what do I do?" I reached for her hand, squeezing it tight. My heart ached for her, but my voice was firm. "Baby, we fight. We fight with proof, with the law, with everything we've got. He won't break us." But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because Devon wasn't the type of man to walk away quietly. And the way he had looked at us before leaving, that cold, dangerous stare, told me he was planning his next move. The house was heavy with silence after that Sunday dinner. The shouting, the tears, the broken glass. It lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. But what haunted me most wasn't the fight. It was Devon's last words before he stormed out. "You think you can take my son from me? You've got another thing coming." It was a threat. Plain as day. And I knew that man well enough to know he'd make good on it. The next morning, Jasmine tried to keep her routine. She dressed the baby, packed her uniform for work, and forced herself to smile. But I saw the tremor in her hands as she poured coffee. I saw how her eyes kept flicking to the window, as if she expected Devon to come barging through it. "Mama," she whispered, "I don't even recognize him anymore. He used to be sweet, respectful. Now he looks at me like I'm the enemy." I touched her shoulder. "That's because you're not bowing down to his control anymore. Men like Devon, they don't love. They own. And when you take that ownership away, they panic." She bit her lip, tears threatening to spill. "I just don't want him to hurt my baby." Her words cut through me. That baby was innocent, yet he was at the center of this storm. By the time Jasmine left for work, my mind was already set. I needed to know exactly what Devon was hiding. Affairs were one thing, but I could smell something deeper. I started small. Mail. Devon always had packages and envelopes coming through the house. I waited until Marcia, the wife, was out running errands, and I slipped into the office where he kept his desk. The drawers were locked. I found the spare key taped under the desk. My hands shook as I opened the first drawer. Bills. Insurance papers. A car lease. Nothing unusual. But the second drawer. That's where I found it. Bank statements. I sat down, flipping through them, my eyes widening with every page. Thousands of dollars transferred out of Jasmine's joint account with Devon. Money meant for the mortgage, the baby, her savings. And where had the money gone? To an account with another Marcia's name on it. The twin. My blood boiled. Not only was Devon cheating, he was stealing. Building a life with his wife's sister right under her nose, using her own money to do it. My phone buzzed. "Jasmine. Mama, what's wrong?" she asked when I picked up. "Your voice sounds tight." I told her everything. The hidden account. The money. The transfers that went back over a year. Her voice cracked. All this time. He was building a second life with her? Using my paycheck. "Yes, baby," I whispered, my throat tight. "He didn't just betray your heart. He robbed you." I heard Jasmine break down on the other end. Sobs shaking through the phone. My strong baby girl, who could fly a plane through thunder and rain, was falling apart because of the man she trusted. When she calmed down, her voice turned cold. "We're not going to let him win. Mama, I'm calling a lawyer." That night, Jasmine didn't come home. She stayed at her crash pad near the airport between flights. The house was quiet except for the baby breathing in his crib. I sat in the dark living room, lights off, watching the street through the window. And that's when I saw him. Devon. Standing across the road. Hands in his pockets. Just staring at the house. My chest tightened. He didn't move. Didn't knock. Didn't shout. Just stood there, his face half hidden in the shadows, eyes fixed on the window where I sat. We stared at each other through the glass for what felt like hours. Finally, a car drove past, its headlights sweeping over him. And just like that, he turned and walked away. But the message was clear. He was watching. The next day, the retaliation began. Jasmine woke to find her car tires slashed. All four. A brick lay on the ground beside it, with a note scrawled in black marker, "Stay out of a man's business." 2 nights later, I heard glass shatter in the middle of the night. I ran downstairs to find my front window broken, another note lying among the shards. Asterisk, this is my house. My family. Back off. Asterisk. The police came, took reports, and warned us to be careful. But I saw it in their eyes. They didn't take it seriously. Just another domestic dispute, they said. But I knew better. Devon was escalating. The final straw came a week later. Jasmine opened her email at the kitchen table and gasped. She turned the laptop toward me, her hands trembling. Mama, look. It was her bank account. Cleared out. Every last dollar gone. I grabbed my chest. Oh my God. She buried her face in her hands, her body shaking. That was my son's future. His college. My savings. Everything. I clenched my fists. No, baby. He won't get away with this. Not 1 cent. Jasmine wiped her tears, her jaw set. Then it's time. I'm filing for separation. And I'm taking him to court. He can threaten, he can steal, he can cheat, but he will not take my child. Her voice was steel. Strong. Determined. But as I held her hand, I couldn't shake the dread in my stomach. Because a man like Devon, who felt his control slipping, who had lost his money, his pride, his family, was a dangerous man. And I feared the worst was yet to come. The knock came at 6 a.m. Loud. Heavy. The kind of knock that made my chest tighten. I opened the door, and there he was. Devon. His eyes were bloodshot, his clothes wrinkled, like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't even look at me. He shoved past and went straight for the crib in the living room. Where's my son? He demanded, his voice ragged. I blocked his way. You don't come in my house barking orders. You lost that right the moment you stole from my daughter. He towered over me, his chest heaving. That's my son in there. You think you can keep him from me? You think you can poison Jasmine against me? No. I'm taking him today. Pack his stuff. I stood firm. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed steady. The baby isn't a suitcase you can pack and move around. And you're not taking him anywhere. That's when Jasmine came down the stairs in her uniform, hair pulled back, suitcase rolling behind her. She froze at the sight of Devon standing by the crib. Devon, she said, her voice sharp. What are you doing here? He turned, his face softening for the first time. Baby, I just came for my son. That's it. You can keep your money, your house, whatever. Just let me take my boy. Jasmine's jaw clenched. Over my dead body. The air cracked between them like lightning. Then the baby cried. Loud. Wailing. Devon's eyes flicked to the crib, and in that split second, Jasmine moved fast. She grabbed the baby in her arms and held him tight. Devon lunged forward. Give him to me. I shouted, get out of my house, Devon. But he shoved past me, his hands grabbing at the baby. Jasmine twisted, shielding her son, screaming, don't touch him. The sound of the baby's screams filled the house, echoing through my chest. I pushed Devon with all my strength. He stumbled back, nearly hitting the wall. His face twisted in rage. You're gonna regret this, he growled. His voice was low, dangerous. You don't get to keep my blood from me. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. Jasmine collapsed on the couch, clutching her baby, sobbing. Mama. He's not gonna stop. He's gonna take me to court. He'll lie, manipulate. He'll do anything. I held her close, my eyes burning. Then we'll be ready. You've got truth on your side. And me. But inside, I was shaking. I'd seen men like Devon before. Men who turned love into possession. And they never walked away quietly. The next day, Jasmine met with a lawyer downtown. A sharp black woman named Attorney Miles, who looked like she'd eaten men like Devon for breakfast. He drained your joint account, Miles said, flipping through paperwork. He committed financial abuse. That strengthens your case. Jasmine nodded. He threatened me. He tried to grab my son from me. I don't feel safe. Miles leaned forward. Then we file for an emergency custody order. You'll have full physical custody until the court hears the case. We'll request supervised visitation for him. He can't be trusted." Jasmine's eyes filled with tears of relief. "Thank you. I just want my baby safe." But even as the lawyer laid out the steps, I couldn't shake Devon's words. "You're gonna regret this." That night, it got worse. I was upstairs folding laundry when I heard Jasmine scream. I dropped the clothes and ran down. She was standing at the window pointing. "Mama, look." Outside, parked across the street, was Devon's car. Engine running. Headlights off. Just sitting there. Watching. I felt my stomach twist. "Call the police." We did. An officer came, but by the time he arrived, Devon was gone. The officer sighed. "There's nothing we can do unless he makes a direct threat or trespasses again. Just keep documenting everything." Jasmine slammed the door after him. "Document? Mama, he's stalking us. He's waiting for me to slip up so he can snatch my baby." I hugged her, but my mind was racing. Devon wasn't just angry, he was unraveling. And a desperate man is dangerous. 2 days later, the custody papers were filed. Devon was served at his job. Jasmine thought it would slow him down, maybe scare him straight. But instead, it set him off like gasoline on fire. That night, we came home from grocery shopping to find the front door kicked open. My heart stopped. "Stay behind me," I whispered, clutching Jasmine's arm. We stepped inside cautiously. The living room was torn apart. Cushions slashed, drawers pulled out, papers everywhere. But it wasn't a robbery. No valuables were missing. No electronics gone. On the wall, written in black spray paint, were the words, "If I can't have him, nobody can." Jasmine gasped, clutching her baby tighter. Her voice shook. "Mama. He's gonna kill me." I grabbed her shoulders. "No. He wants you scared. But we're not backing down. We're calling the police right now." The police came again, took pictures, wrote a report. This time, they promised to escalate it. But Jasmine could see it in their faces. They still thought it was just a lover's quarrel. When they left, Jasmine sat at the table, her face pale. "Mama, what if one night he actually does it? What if he snaps and takes my son?" I wanted to tell her she was safe. But I couldn't lie. Not anymore. Because in my bones, I knew, Devon was getting closer to the edge. And he wasn't about to let go quietly. 3 nights later, it happened. I was asleep when I heard the sound of breaking glass downstairs. I bolted upright, my heart in my throat. Jasmine's scream tore through the house. "Mama." I ran out of my room, down the stairs. And there he was, Devon, standing in the living room, holding a crowbar, his eyes wild. Jasmine was clutching the baby, backed into a corner, tears streaming down her face. "Give me my son," he roared. His voice shook the walls. "You can't keep him from me." I grabbed the nearest thing I could, a heavy lamp, and held it like a weapon. "Devon, get out before you regret it." He swung the crowbar against the wall, splintering wood. "I'm not leaving without my boy." The baby wailed, Jasmine sobbing, me standing there shaking but ready to fight. And then, sirens. Flashing red and blue lights poured through the broken window. Devon froze. His eyes darted to the door. But it was too late. Police burst in, guns drawn, shouting, "Drop the weapon." Devon hesitated. His jaw clenched. His eyes locked on Jasmine one last time, filled with hate. And then, "Drop the weapon now." The officers barked again. Devon's knuckles whitened around the crowbar. His chest rose and fell like a man drowning. For a split second, I thought he was going to charge. But then he dropped it. The heavy clang on the hardwood floor echoed through the house. 2 officers rushed him, forcing him to the ground, cuffing his wrists. Devon cursed, his voice raw. "This ain't over. That's my son. My blood." Jasmine clutched her baby so tight the child let out a cry. Her whole body shook. Tears streaked her face, but her jaw was set like stone. As they dragged Devon out, Neighbors peeked from porches and windows. Flashing lights lit the whole block like a stage. Everyone saw. Everyone heard. The mighty Devon, screaming like a madman as the law hauled him away. The next morning, Jasmine and I sat in Attorney Miles' office, exhaustion hanging over us like a storm cloud. Miles leaned forward, tapping a file. "Last night was the best thing that could have happened for your case." Jasmine gave a bitter laugh. "Best?" "He broke into my home with a weapon. My baby almost," her voice cracked, and she couldn't finish. Miles nodded firmly. "Exactly. Now the judge will see him for what he is. A danger. A man unfit to parent. We'll push for full custody and a restraining order." Jasmine wiped her eyes, steadying her breath. "I just want to be safe. For my son to be safe." Miles' lips curved into the faintest smile. "We'll make it happen." The courtroom was cold. Marble floors. Echoing halls. The kind of place where whispers sounded louder than shouts. Devon shuffled in, his orange jumpsuit stark against his dark skin. He'd been held without bail after the break-in, but his lawyer had somehow managed to drag this custody hearing forward. When he saw Jasmine holding the baby across the room, his whole body stiffened. His eyes burned, wild but desperate. The judge, an older black man with silver hair, cleared his throat. "We are here to determine temporary custody of the minor child until further proceedings." Attorney Miles stood tall, papers in hand. "Your Honor, the facts are clear. Mr. Devon Matthews engaged in financial abuse, theft, intimidation, stalking, and most recently, armed breaking and entering. This is not a father protecting his rights. This is a man obsessed with control." Devon's lawyer shot up. "Objection. Mr. Matthews is the biological father. He has every right to seek time with his son. My client was driven to desperation because Ms. Jasmine Matthews has unfairly cut him out of his child's life." Jasmine's breath hitched, but Miles placed a steadying hand on her arm. Then she stood, her voice ringing out. "Your Honor, this man stole every dollar from my account. He terrorized me in my own home. He tried to rip my baby from my arms. Look at the police reports. Look at the photos of my walls." Her voice trembled, but her courage filled the room. "He doesn't love this child. He wants to use him. To punish me." The judge leaned back, his eyes heavy with thought. He shuffled papers, then spoke slowly. "Given the evidence presented, the financial records, police documentation, and testimony, this court grants Ms. Jasmine Matthews full custody effective immediately. Mr. Devon Matthews is granted supervised visitation only, pending further psychological evaluation." The gavel struck. The sound cracked like thunder. Jasmine gasped, clutching her son tight. Relief and fear mixed in her eyes. Devon shot to his feet, his shackles rattling. "This is a setup. You can't take my son from me. He's mine." The bailiff restrained him, dragging him back as his voice echoed off the courtroom walls. "This ain't over, Jasmine. You hear me? Ain't nothing over." The room fell into silence as he was hauled out, his rage leaving a chill in the air. Outside, reporters swarmed. Cameras flashing. Microphones shoved forward. "Jasmine, how do you feel about today's ruling? Do you think Devon Matthews is dangerous? Are you afraid for your safety?" Jasmine shielded her baby, her jaw tight. She said nothing, just kept walking, but her silence spoke louder than any words. The next morning, headlines screamed. "Local father loses custody after violent break-in." "Airline pilot mother wins temporary protection order." For the first time, Devon's mask was cracking in public. The man everyone thought was charming, hard-working, devoted, was exposed as a violent liar. But exposure doesn't kill obsession. It only feeds it. Weeks passed. Devon sat in county jail, waiting for trial. Jasmine tried to rebuild normalcy. She flew her routes, cared for her baby, leaned on me when the weight was too heavy. But I could see the cracks. Every sound at night made her jump. Every unexpected knock made her freeze. Then, one evening, the phone rang. Jasmine answered, and her face drained of color. She put it on speaker. Devon's voice came through, smooth but cold. You think you won, huh? Parading me in court, making me look like a monster. You and your mama feel proud. Jasmine's hands shook. Devon, stop calling me. You're not supposed to contact me. He chuckled, low and menacing. Court orders don't mean nothing. I still got people on the outside. You better watch yourself. Click. The line went dead. Jasmine looked at me, her eyes wide. Mama. He still has power. Even locked up. My chest tightened. She was right. Devon might have lost in court, but he hadn't given up. And deep down, I feared he was planning something bigger. 2 weeks later, Devon was granted a supervised visitation. Against every nerve in my body, we had to show up at the family center. I'll never forget the way his eyes lit up when they brought the baby in. Not with love. Not with fatherly pride. But with possession. Like a man staring at stolen treasure he planned to reclaim. He whispered to the child, though the supervisor was right there. Daddy's coming for you. Don't worry. Daddy's not leaving you here. When Jasmine heard, she almost collapsed. She carried her son out, her body trembling, tears streaming down her cheeks. I can't do this, Mama, she sobbed in the parking lot. He'll never stop. I don't care about custody, money, anything. I just want to live in peace. I wrapped my arms around her, whispering fierce and low. Then we're not waiting for peace to find us. We're taking it. He wants a war. We'll give him one. But on our terms. Her tearful eyes met mine. What do you mean? I looked past her, into the darkening sky, my mind already racing. If Devon wants to destroy everything, then it's time we destroy the one thing he cares about most. His reputation. His freedom. His pride. Jasmine blinked, realization dawning. You mean? I nodded slowly. Revenge, baby. The kind that sticks. The kind that makes sure he never rises again. But before she could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number lit up the screen. It read, "You can't protect her forever. Next time, I'm coming for both of you." I froze, my blood running cold. The text glowed on my phone like a curse. You can't protect her forever. Next time, I'm coming for both of you. My fingers shook as I handed it to Jasmine. Her face went pale. She held her baby tighter, whispering, "He's still controlling us. Even from jail." I forced my voice steady. Then it's time we flip the game. We're not hiding anymore. Jasmine's eyes brimmed with fear. Mama, what if he really comes? What if he tries to kill us? I met her gaze. Then we'll be ready. And this time, he won't walk away. The following week, Devon made bail. It was all over the news. *** local man released pending trial. His lawyer spun a story about a good father unfairly painted as violent. I knew better. 2 nights later, the trap began. We had just come home from Jasmine's late flight. It was near midnight, the street eerily quiet. Jasmine was carrying her baby inside when I saw it, her front door slightly ajar. Every hair on my neck rose. "Stop," I whispered, pulling her back. "Don't go in." Jasmine froze, her breathing quickening. "Mama. He's in there, isn't he?" I scanned the shadows. No movement. Just silence. "Take the baby back to the car," I whispered. "Lock the doors. Don't open them for anybody." Her eyes widened. "What about you?" I squared my shoulders. "He wants me too, remember? If he's inside, I'll draw him out." Before she could protest, I slipped into the house. The air was heavy, wrong. Furniture shifted, a drawer open, like someone had been searching. Then I heard it. A floorboard creak upstairs. "Devon," I called out, my voice hard. "Come out and face me." Silence. I took a step toward the stairs, then a shadow moved. Quick. Behind me. I spun, but it was too late. A hand clamped over my mouth, cold metal pressing against my side. A knife. "Shoo," his voice hissed in my ear. "Scream and I'll bleed you right here." My heart thundered. Devon's breath was hot against my skin. I told you, he whispered, you can't protect her. Not from me. She's mine. And if I can't have her, neither will the world. He shoved me toward the living room, knife never leaving my ribs. His eyes were wild, but there was calculation there too. A predator who thought he was still in control. Where's my son? He demanded. Tell me, or I'll gut you and then take him myself. I forced a shaky smile, even as fear knotted my stomach. You'll never get him, Devon. Not after what you've done. He'll grow up knowing what you are. His face twisted. Rage flickered. Shut up. He raised the knife. And headlights cut across the room. A car pulling into the driveway. Jasmine. Devon's grin was sharp and cruel. Perfect timing. Jasmine barely had the baby out of the car seat when Devon burst through the door, dragging me by the arm, knife flashing in the porch light. Her scream split the night. Mama. Give me my son, Devon snarled, his voice low and deadly. Right now, Jasmine. Or I swear, your mama dies in front of you. Jasmine froze, clutching the baby. Tears streamed down her face, but her jaw locked. Please, Devon. Don't do this. Not in front of him. Devon sneered. Then hand him over. You got 10 seconds. My chest heaved. I locked eyes with Jasmine, sending her a silent message. Don't you dare. But Devon's knife pressed harder against my side. 9-8. The baby wailed, sensing the terror in the air. Jasmine's whole body shook. She kissed her son's head, whispering, I love you. I'll get you back, I promise. Then she stepped forward, arms trembling, and extended the baby toward Devon. For a second, his face softened. Victory flashing in his eyes. And that's when I moved. I slammed my heel down on his foot hard. He yelled, loosening his grip just enough. I twisted, elbowing him in the ribs. The knife clattered to the ground. Run, Jasmine. I screamed. She bolted to the car with the baby, fumbling with the door. Devon roared, lunging after her. I grabbed his arm, yanking him back with every ounce of strength in me. Go. I shouted. Drive. The engine roared to life, tires screeching as Jasmine sped off into the night. Devon turned on me, eyes blazing. You think you can stop me, old woman? She's mine. That baby is mine. He raised his fists, fury boiling. But before he could strike, flashing red and blue filled the street. Sirens wailed. Police cars screeched to a stop, doors flying open, officers aiming weapons. Hands up, Devon. They barked. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in his eyes. But it didn't last. He raised his hands slowly, a twisted grin curling his lips. This ain't over, he muttered, his gaze locked on me. Court cops, none of it matters. She'll come back to me. She always does. The officers cuffed him, dragging him away. His laughter echoed down the street, chilling my blood. At the station later, Jasmine trembled as she gave her statement. He would have killed us, Mama. He won't stop until he does. I squeezed her hand. Which is why we're not just playing defense anymore. We're going to bury him, Jasmine. Legally. Financially. Publicly. He won't have a shred of power left when we're through. Her eyes met mine, fierce through her tears. Then let's finish it. Once and for all. But just as she spoke, an officer rushed in with a grim look. Ma'am, he said carefully, Devon posted bail again. He's out. Jasmine gasped, nearly dropping her baby. Already? After what he just did? The officer sighed. We're trying, but his lawyer keeps pulling strings. You'll need to be careful. Devon was free. Again. And this time, I knew, he wouldn't just come with threats. He'd come with war. The night air was heavy, pressing down like a storm waiting to break. I sat by the window, watching every shadow, every car that passed. Devon was out again. Free. And I knew in my bones he wasn't done. Jasmine paced the living room, clutching her baby close. Mama, I can't live like this. Every time I hear a noise, I think it's him. I can't even sleep. I nodded, my jaw tight. That's exactly what he wants. But tonight, baby. Tonight, we end this. She froze, her eyes wide. End it? What do you mean? I looked her dead in the eye. We're done waiting for him to attack. We're done hiding. Tonight, we take the fight to him. Her breath caught. For a moment, fear flickered. Then her face hardened with resolve. Tell me what to do. We didn't have to wait long. It was just past midnight when headlights crept down the street. A car idled outside. The engine cut. Silence. Jasmine and I exchanged a glance. He's here, I whispered. She handed me the baby monitor, already set up in the nursery upstairs. We had rehearsed this. If anything happened, she'd grab the baby and slip out the back. I would face Devon. The front door creaked. Slow. Careful. Then footsteps. He was inside. I stepped into the living room, lamplight flickering. Devon stood there, dressed in black, a gun in his hand. His smile was cold, twisted. You thought you could run this game, huh? He hissed. Court, cops, lawyers. All that paper don't mean nothing. Tonight, it's just us. And my son is coming with me. I steadied my voice, though my heart thundered. You're not taking that child anywhere, Devon. Not now. Not ever. He raised the gun, pointing it at my chest. Move, old woman. Before I could answer, Jasmine's voice rang out behind me. No, Devon. She stood at the stairs, her baby in her arms, trembling but unbroken. You want me? Fine. But you leave my son out of this. Devon's eyes glittered. Finally. Some sense. He took a step forward. Hand him over. And that was the moment Jasmine snapped. You stole from me. You cheated with my aunt. You terrorized my family. And still, you think you own me. Her voice was fire, shaking but fierce. You'll never own me again. Devon's face twisted. You don't get it. You're nothing without me. No, Jasmine said, her voice rising. You're nothing without control. And tonight, you lose it. In one motion, Jasmine hurled the diaper bag at his face. The heavy thud stunned him just long enough for me to swing the iron fire poker I'd hidden by the couch. The crack rang out as it connected with his arm. The gun clattered to the floor. Run, Jasmine. I shouted. She bolted toward the back door with the baby. Devon roared, grabbing my arm, shoving me hard into the wall. Pain shot through my shoulder, but I didn't let go of the poker. He lunged for Jasmine, but I swung again, this time catching him across the ribs. He stumbled, rage burning in his eyes. You're dead, old woman. He spat, charging me. I braced myself, but Jasmine was already there. She'd circled back, baby in one arm, pepper spray in the other. Get away from my mama, she screamed, unloading the spray straight into his face. Devon howled, clawing at his eyes, stumbling blindly. The gun lay on the floor between us. His hand groped for it, inches away. And in that split second, everything slowed. I saw my daughter, trembling but strong, clutching her child. I saw the man who had tried to break her spirit, destroy her life, rip apart our family. And I knew what had to be done. I grabbed the gun first. My hands shook, but my aim was steady. Devon, I said, my voice low, steady, final. This ends tonight. His red, swollen eyes met mine. He sneered. You don't have the guts. The baby cried. Jasmine gasped. My finger tightened. The gun roared. Devon collapsed, the fight draining from his body. His eyes widened, then went still. Silence. The room felt frozen in time. Jasmine stood motionless, clutching her baby, staring at Devon's lifeless form on the floor. Mama. Her voice broke. What did you? I dropped the gun, tears streaming down my face. I did what I had to do. For you. For him. For all of us. Sirens wailed in the distance. Neighbors must have heard the shot. When the police arrived, Jasmine and I gave our statements, every detail. The break-in. The threats. the weapon in his hand. One officer looked at me, his face grim but respectful. "Ma'am, from everything we see here, this was self-defense." Jasmine broke down then, sobbing into my chest, her baby squirming between us. Relief, grief, shock, it all poured out. Weeks later, the trial came. Not for us, for Devon's crimes. Fraud, theft, domestic abuse. Even though he was gone, his record was laid bare. Every secret, every lie. The community that once praised him now whispered his name with shame. Jasmine sat in the courtroom, her son on her lap, her head held high. She was no longer the broken wife who had begged for peace. She was free. Afterward, she looked at me, her eyes shining. "Mama, he tried to destroy me. But all he did was make me stronger." I kissed her forehead, tears in my eyes. "That's right, baby. Because when a man tries to turn love into chains, we break them. And we never look back." The baby cooed then, reaching out his tiny hand. Jasmine smiled, kissing his fingers. "He'll grow up knowing the truth," she whispered. "That we fought for him. That we survived." I nodded, the weight finally lifting. "And that we won." The house is quiet now. No more shadows at the window. No more threats in the night. Just peace. But sometimes late at night, I replay it all. The betrayal. The lies. The fear. The fight. And I know one thing for certain: when you mess with a black woman's family, when you betray her love and threaten her child, you've already signed your own ending. My love. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story.